The human body requires over 40 nutrients to function properly, and if we don't get enough of any of them, we're at higher risk for disease and a shorter lifespan. So optimizing our nutrient intake is one of the most important things we can do for our health. Sadly, statistics show that most people are deficient in not just one, but several essential nutrients, and that nutrient deficiency is a major contributor to the global burden of disease. In this video, I'm going to talk about nutrient density, what it is, why it's important, and how to maximize it in your diet. By the end of this video, you'll know which foods are the most nutrient dense and how to eat to promote optimal health and longevity. Let's get to it. Nutrients in food fall into two categories, macronutrients and micronutrients. Macronutrients include carbohydrates, fat, and protein. Micronutrients include vitamins, minerals, and other compounds required in small amounts. The term nutrient density refers to the concentration of micronutrients and amino acids, the building blocks of proteins, in a given food. But nutrient density means two very different things in the conventional nutrition and in the functional medicine and ancestral health communities. In the conventional world, foods that are high in nutrients but low in saturated fat and calories are considered to be the most nutrient dense. But in the ancestral and functional medicine world, we recognize that some of the most nutrient dense foods on the planet are sourced from animals and contain plenty of fat, such as organ meats, red meat, and full-fat dairy products. After 15 years of research and clinical experience, I've come to believe that nutrient density should be the primary goal of our diet and is one of the most important determinants of our health. Why? Because suboptimal amounts of any of these essential nutrients can contribute to the development of chronic disease and even shorten our lifespan. Notice that I said suboptimal amounts and not deficiencies. The RDA, or recommended dietary allowance of a nutrient, is the amount we need to avoid acute diseases like rickets or scurvy. But that's not the amount we need for optimal health and to avoid chronic diseases. That amount is almost certainly much higher than the RDA for most nutrients. Here are a few examples of how suboptimal levels of micronutrients can worsen our health. Low magnesium intake is linked to depression, metabolic syndrome, and cardiovascular disease. Low B12 contributes to cognitive dysfunction and reversible and irreversible tremors and other Parkinson's-like symptoms. Low folate intake increases the risk of birth defects and promotes the production of a compound called homocysteine that damages blood vessels when present in large amounts and also impairs DNA methylation, which can lead to altered gene expression and an increased risk of cancer. With this in mind, how do we maximize nutrient density? Step 1 is to optimize your intake of essential vitamins, minerals, and amino acids. The foods that are richest in these nutrients are, in descending order, liver and other organ meats, shellfish and dried fish, dark leafy greens, beef, eggs, dairy products, and vitamin A-rich fruits and vegetables. Notice what's not high on the list: legumes, whole grains, tubers, and certainly not refined grains. Now, this doesn't mean that we shouldn't ever eat those foods, but they should not be staples in your diet. Step 2 is to eat a wide range of foods that are rich in phytonutrients like carotenoids, flavonoids, polyphenols, lignans, and fiber. A growing body of research suggests that these nutrients play a crucial role in our health and longevity. And the best sources of phytonutrients are fresh, local fruits, vegetables, herbs, and spices. Eating a diet rich in all of these foods is the best way to build the foundation of nutrient density. That said, in the modern world, we face a growing number of challenges when it comes to getting enough nutrients through food alone, even on a healthy diet. And these include changes in soil quality, which reduce nutrient availability in the fruits and vegetables that we eat, increases in chronic disease, which both increase the demand for nutrients and also reduce our absorption of nutrients, a shift to a global rather than local food system, because nutrient levels in produce begin to decline as soon as the food is harvested. So food that has been shipped for 3,000 miles, which is not uncommon today, has far lower nutrient levels than food that you grow in your own backyard or you buy from a local farmer's market. A shift to industrialized agriculture and animal production. So organic produce, pasture-raised animal products, and wild-caught seafood generally have higher nutrient levels than conventional produce, CAFO meat, and farm seafood. Greater numbers of people following restricted diets and doing intermittent fasting, both of which reduce nutrient intake. An increase in toxins like heavy metals and glyphosate in the food supply. These toxins bind to nutrients and decrease their bioavailability. And then an epidemic of chronic stress, which we now know increases the demand for nutrients and over-the-counter and prescription medications that deplete key nutrients and or affect nutrient bioavailability. So this is why in many cases, even if you're following a healthy diet, it may make sense to augment the nutrition we get from food with smart supplementation. But not just any supplements will do here. They have to contain the most bioavailable and bioidentical forms of nutrients and the right amounts of each nutrient to be effective. This is exactly the problem I set out to solve when I created Adapt Naturals, my new supplement line that's launching in just a few weeks. We're starting with the daily stack of 5 products that's designed to close the nutrient gap and add back in what the modern world has crowded out so you can feel and perform your best. If you'd like to be notified when we launch, head over to adaptnaturals.com and sign up for email updates. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next week.